Now, Vedanta Deshika puts this into a beautiful shloka. He says, Yoyam dhatte svanishtham vahanamapi varaha sparshito yena yasmai yasmad yasyahava shrir vidadhati bhajanam yatra yatreti santaha prayo devassa itham harigaruda bhida kalpita rohavaha swabhavya swatma bhavyaha pradishatu shakunir brahma sa brahmatamnaha. So whatever I've spoken of the Lord granting a boon, Garuda granting a boon in return, Garuda telling I shall be below you as the vehicle, the Lord asking Garuda to be atop the flag as the emblem is mentioned in this shloka. Now, we are going to go to why is Garuda Upakyanam mentioned in Mahabharatam. Mahabharatam should talk about Pandavas, the sons of Dhritarashtra called Dhartarashtras, the tussle that existed between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and how there was a war between them. This is the Katha Bhagam. Why should Garuda story feature here? Right? Isn't it, if irrelevance is a part of the book, wouldn't somebody think of my Upanyasam where you may think, why is he telling this story here? Why should Vyasa also do the same mistake of Dushyanth? Why is he digressing? Vyasa does it with a purpose. Kashyapa, in Aruna Prashnam it is said, Kashyapa, Pashyakaha Kashyapo Bhavati. Pashyaka, the one who could see, but just not see, foresee. So you see, I see what is there. What do I foresee? That if I continue this lecture for more than 25 minutes, people will fall asleep. So I see and I foresee. That is why he was called Kashyapa. Why is Kashyapa mentioned in Mahabharatam? Because Vyasa knew there will be an exact opposite person to Kashyapa called as Dhritarashtra, who could neither see nor foresee. Had he foreseen, he would have not let his sons humiliate his own daughter-in-law in the middle of the court. But he was extremely happy that his daughter-in-law is getting humiliated. He didn't foresee the destruction, the calamity, the disaster that was to strike the heads of his very own sons. He could neither see nor foresee. In the Pasuram for Thiruvallikeni, Tirumangayalvar, Virpena Velavum, Kanjanum Mallum, he says, Andhakan Sirvan. Andhakan is the name of Dhritarashtra. Andhakan, he couldn't see. Andhakan, he didn't see, but Vedanta Deshika says, not seeing is not his mistake. But why he was a disaster was, he was just not blind externally, he was blind internally too. So, Kashyapa's Charitram is mentioned in the start of Mahabharatam because he was a person who could see and foresee. Dhritarashtra could neither see nor foresee. Next, why is this mentioned? Kadru cheats Vinata. Correct? She cheats with her sons. She says, my dear black-hued sons, go and tie. It was not a fair battle. She wanted to cheat Vinata. So she used her own sons to cheat Vinata. Correct? You see here, in the scene of gambling, the sons of Dhritarashtra cheat the sons of Pandu by not fighting them directly, but by asking their uncle Shakuni to fight on their behalf. It was not right. So this was cheating. Next, Vinata's son, who's Garuda, finally says, I have to release you from slavery. What should I do? He decides to release his mother from slavery by fighting Indra and bringing Amrita. You will remember during the Dyuta Krida, the Pandavas had become slaves of the sons of Dhritarashtra. It was Draupadi who released them temporarily, but that the temporary release from slavery from the hands of the clutches of the Kauravas to the Pandavas was not sufficient for her. She said that I need a permanent release from these sons of Dhritarashtra, oh my dear Pandavas, for which here came the Gitamritam. There Vinata's son brought Amrita. Here Vishnu gave Gitamrita. Sarvopa Nishado Gavaha Dugdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsaha Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat. So there Garuda brought Amrita. Here Vishnu gave Gitamrita. There Vinata's son Garuda fought Indra. Here Krishna fought the Kauravas with Indra's son Arjuna. Do you see the connection? Next, if you see the next part, Garuda fights the snakes. Correct? The sons of Kadru were the snakes. Garuda, Vinata's son, fights the snakes. You remember what is the emblem of Duryodhana? Snake. And if you see, Garuda fights Indra. But here, do you see the horse? The horse, ideally what should have been there? Garuda should have been there. But Garuda you cannot use technically Garuda in the Yuddham. So he had to use horses. So Garuda could have been on the emblem. Correct? But what was there in the emblem when Arjuna fought? Hanuman. Now where will Garuda go? Where Periyalvar states that Garuda was housing himself within the horses. Meimei peruvartai vittu chittar kettirupar tammai uhapparai tamuhappar ennum sol. So Garuda was found within the horses. Do you see so many connections of the later Mahabharata with Garuda Upakhyanam? Why did Vyasacharya narrate? Because before you narrate one big kavyam called Mahabharatam, you have to give the executive summary of that kavyam through one slide. So all those parvas of Mahabharatam, the yuddham between Pandavas and the Kauravas, the Gitamritam coming, the cheating, the gambling, was all put in a nutshell as Garuda Upakhyanam, as a mini Mahabharatam by Vyasa. So Garuda Upakhyanam is the mini Mahabharatam. So if I tell you have to listen to Mahabharatam, you have to listen for years together. But what you have listened now is a mini Mahabharatam. That's said. Now, this is Surya. And Aruna, who is the first son of Vinata and Kashyapa, is the Sarathi. Now, what do we say every day? Dhyaya Sada Savitri Mandala Madhyavarti. Within the sun, everybody, whoever has the time to perform Sandhya Vandanam, what you do is you take that water and pour. You say, inside the sun is housed Narayana. So the external part is the sun, and for Surya, the Sarathi is Aruna. Now, who is housed within the sun? Narayana. And who is the Sarathi? Garuda. So the elder brother and the younger brother are housed within two concentric circles called Surya and Narayana. Now, this connection is brought to us in the form of a beautiful verse from a work of the 7th century called as Surya Shatakam. Surya Shatakam is by a Kavi called, any guesses? Very good, Mayura Kavi. So Mayura Kavi drafted the set of 100 verses on Surya for getting cured of eye problems. So this has been put forth in a beautiful shloka. Prakkalo nidra padmakara parimalanabhir bhavat padashobho bhaktya tyaktoru khedod gati divi vinata sununa niyamanaha saptashvapta parantanyadhikamadharanyo jaganti stutolam devair devassa payad apara iva murari ahintam patirvaha. So here, this is a verse from Surya Shatakam. Now this form of Garuda, while I went to Seattle, one of my very good friends called Jayashri has painted this Garuda in Seattle. What has she done is to paint Garuda the way Vedanta Deshika and the Vedas have praised. Garuda is seen as the quintessence of Vedic teachings. Remember, that is why in any Samprokshanam or Kumbhabhishekam, after you have recited the Vedas and you take the Vedic waters to the Kalasham and you pour over it, immediately people will look to the sky and check if Garuda is there. Because Garuda is seen as the essence of Vedic teachings. Now, what does he signify? Vedanta Deshika states this. Netram Gayatra Muche. Now, the eyes of Garuda represent Gayatri Mantram, it seems. So what she has done is, this is a very low resolution pic of it. If you zoom the eyes, you will see the Gayatri Mantram written within it. Netram Gayatra Muche Trivriditi Chashiro Namadheyam Yajumshi Chandam Syangani Dishnatma Bhirajani Shaphair Vigraho Vamadevyam Yasya Stomatma Nosau Brihaditara Garut Tadrisham Natta Puchaha swachandhyam nafprasutam shruti shata shikara bhishtutatma garutman. What does Garuda signify? The Atma of Garuda is Samavedam, it seems. That is why in Bhagavatam, when the Lord appears on Garuda before Kardama Prajapati, the verse says, Stomam Udirna Sama. When Garuda was flying, they could hear Samavedam, it seems. So the Atma of Garuda is Samavedam. What is the body of Garuda? Vamadevyam. What does the name of Garuda signify? It signifies Yajurvedam. What does the head of Garuda represent? Trivit mantra. His eyes, Gayatri mantra. Wings, Brihat and Rathantra. Limbs, Chandas. The claws, Dhishnya Vedika. And tail is Yajna Yajnam. Says Vedanta Deshika. Now, there is another message. If you have seen many of the Vishnu temples, in the Brahmotsavam, there is one day called as Garuda Sevai. When Muthuswami Dikshitar visited Kanchipuram and wanted to take a glimpse of the Lord, he went on the day of Garuda Sevai. Kalido Shahara Tirtha Prabhava Guru Guhadinatam Kapila Shukadi Sannuta Garuda Vahadirudham Varada Raja Mupasmahe Vanaja Sanadi Pujitam. Why is Garuda Sevai so important? Here, we need to understand there are 4 sections, parts to every Veda. There is Brahmanam, Aranyakam, Samhita. These are the 3 portions of Vedas. The 4th part is Upanishad. So there are 4 parts, Brahmanam, Aranyakam, Samhita and Upanishad. Sir, you're saying there are 4 parts. Why have you put so much of gap between these 3 and the 4th one? There is a reason. These 3 talk about a lot of karma, activities. They say venerate Paramatma through this particular ritual. Venerate the Parabrahmam using this particular yagam. So it becomes a karma. So I reach Paramatma through Agni. I reach Paramatma through Varuna. I see Paramatma through Indra. I see Paramatma through Rudra. So these are all the deities through whom I see Paramatma. Since they signify karma, these 3 together are referred to as Karma Kandam. Brahmanam, Aranyakam and Samhita. Now as I keep doing these yajnas, my desire is to understand and meditate upon Parabrahmam, which is Paramatma. Which is that portion that signifies the Paramatma? That is the Jnana Kandam, which is the Upanishad. Now, if you see this Karma Kandam, which is the Vedic injunctions, is represented as Garuda. The Jnana Kandam is represented by Parabrahmam. So when you see Vishnu on Garuda, it means you are seeing Vedam together. Karma Kandam and Jnana Kandam. Shruti, Shirasi. This is Shruti, Vedam. Shirasi, its crown, is Vedanta. Vidipte Brahmani Srinivase. So Garuda Sevai literally brings in front of our eyes Karma Kandam and Jnana Kandam together. That's it. Where else do we find Garuda? When the elephant was crying for help, when one of its limbs was caught in the strong and virulent jaws of the crocodile, the Lord appeared on Garuda. Even in the Thiruvallikeni Pasuram, we get Pul Vurnd Sendru. So when you see Gajendra Varada Sannidhi in Thiruvallikeni, you will see the Lord seated on Garuda. So in our Puranas, Garuda becomes in a way identity to the Lord. Where else do we see him? When Dhruva Charitram, when Dhruva is blessed by the Lord comes over Garuda. Where else? In Ramayanam, where Rama at every point in time says that I'm a normal human being, there's something and certain situations that go beyond his control. When Rama and Lakshmana were tied by Nagapasham in Lanka, when the first time they are tied, Garuda himself comes and rescues them from Nagapasham. Next, when Krishna was carried under the shade of the 1,000-hooded, white-hued Adisesha from Mathura to Gokulam, crossing the swelling waters of the Yamuna river by Vasudeva, we see above the Adisesha, there was somebody else who was guiding him and covering him. That is Garuda. Do you see a bird at the end of it? Do you see here? So, Shrutimayo iti pannagaha, says Vedanta Deshika. Now, when there was no person available to guide Garuda on his way to Pragjyotishapuram, which some say is Assam and some people say is the current day Thailand. Because Naraka ruled a city called Pragjyotishapuram. Pragjyotis means where the light keeps burning, which means that could have been the place where active volcanoes were found. So there are 2-3 active volcanoes found in Thailand, and in earlier maps, Thailand is called by the name Dwaravati. When there is, when the magma pushes itself up. See, we need to understand a lot of these events from the cosmic angle. We have heard of Shiva being a Tripurantaka. Namaste astu bhagavan vishveshwaraya mahadevaya trayambakaya tripurantakaya trikagnikalaya tripurantaka, tripura samharam. Very important. When Hanuman burns Lanka, Valmiki says like how Rudramurti burnt Tripuras, Hanuman burnt Lanka. So there is reference, and one of the Nayanmar says, Sirittavan Yerittan. When Lord Shiva burnt Tripurams, he gave a smile. It was not as if he was tensed. He smiled and burnt Tripurams, it seems. Now coming to Tripuram, what does that signify? We see 3 elements in Tripuram: gold, silver and iron. 3 fortresses. So if you look at the surface of earth, it is flat, and there is a volcano above it, and when the force comes, the magma, the lava pushes itself up like this. So if you see this, this and this, doesn't this remind you of the arrow being shot from a bow? So there is a lake called the Toba Lake, which is found in the Southeast Asian country, where you find that a big catastrophe has struck at one point in time many millennia ago, where the volcano pushed itself and those minerals of gold, silver and iron were thrown out. So this must have been the place where Tripura Samharam must have happened. So we have to relate it in a cosmic manner. Similarly, this Pragjyotishapuram, some scholars, one of the scholars, a good friend Jayashree Saranathan opines that it must be Thailand. So that is why Krishna shifted took the Garuda from Gujarat and had to go to Dwaravati, which is Thailand, and fight Narakasura, and he had trafficked many innocent women and bring them back to Gujarat. So in that due process, he says, who is going to take me to Pragjyotishapuram? Satyabhama says, don't worry, I know how to guide. I've done good courses in ornithology. I can manage your Garuda. Give me the chance. So both of them take Garuda and go there. Interestingly, the first time I went to the US, I said they were so fast, they took Garuda Vega. People looked at each other. There's a courier service called Garuda Vega. So I was not aware of it, and even probably Garuda was not aware of it.